Morning, we are keeping a close eye on Dorian, still a Category 4 storm. It rapidly intensified yesterday and it has that well-defined eye wall. It is a compact system and it's also very symmetrical. This will continue to head off to the west and it is running into a little bit of wind shear right now, but as it continues that westward trek, the wind shear is going to weaken. It's also going to be moving over some very warm water, so we are expecting it to maintain its strength, maybe even going up a little bit. But once we start to see some of those eye wall replacement cycles, we are going to see a little bit of fluctuation in the wind speeds. It's still going to be a very powerful storm, even if it goes up or down about 10 to 15 miles an hour with the wind speeds around that eye wall. But it is definitely going to be moving over the northern Bahamas, and they're looking at some very devastating impacts from this. Not only do they have winds of about 140 miles an hour, but they're looking at that storm surge 10 to 15 feet, and then also very heavy rain about 10 to 15 inches. Miles, though, are still in good agreement with that westward trek as we move through the day today, tomorrow into Monday. And they are still keeping that northern turn as that high is starting to break down. They are shifting a little bit further to the east and making that turn a little bit earlier. So you'll notice that a lot of these are keeping the center of the storm right off the east coast of Florida, but there is still that uncertainty. We still have the code of uncertainty riding right up along the east coast, so you can't focus right on this center line, because even if the eye does stay off into the Atlantic, we are still looking at some incredible impacts all along the east coast, depending on how far away it is, because those hurricane force winds extend out 30 miles. So even if it just stays about 30 miles off of the coast, they're still looking at hurricane force winds, and they're also going to be dealing with that storm surge, all the water piling up along the east coast as it heads off to the north. The Bahamas, though, definitely looking at some catastrophic impacts from this as we head into tomorrow and then Monday, and it's really slowing down as that high starts to break down. So they're going to be dealing with those hurricane force winds not only tomorrow, but then into Monday as well. And then we'll start to see that northern turn. And this is what's going to make all the difference, not only for us, but along the east coast. If it makes that turn earlier, the greatest impacts are going to stay a little bit further off to the east. But if it does make landfall, say down around Lake Okeechobee and West Palm area, and then rides up the state, then we're looking at those stronger winds. We're looking at a lot more rainfall. So the further east this shifts, the better news for us, but not great news along the southeast coast there in Georgia into the Carolinas. They're also going to be dealing with that storm surge, and that's what we're going to see here. About 18 feet possible into the northern Bahamas, especially where they're getting that onshore flow. And then basically from West Palm all along the east coast up into Georgia and South Carolina, we are going to be seeing storm surge on its current path up to about 18 feet. So that's still going to be very damaging, and they're still going to see those very strong winds along the coast as well. But with the track continuing to shift off to the east, our likelihood of seeing hurricane force winds is diminishing, and it's also diminishing tropical storm force winds. But as I mentioned, we can't just focus on that center line. So we do have to still be prepared and just hope that we are going to continue to see that shifting off to the east, but there's still that potential of it riding right up the state. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. With it slowing down, that time frame is slowing down, so it's something for us to keep an eye on a little bit longer. But Sky Tower radar is quiet this